The Eight Immortals Travel East, Chapter 21.
Imagine for a second that you're sitting in this grand, opulent royal court.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The air is thick with the scent of sandalwood incense. And there's this quiet, heavy tension of absolute authority all around you.
Oh, that sounds incredibly stressful.
Right. And someone hands you a cup of wine. But you know deep down this isn't a hospitable gesture.
No, of course not.
It's a test, a potentially lethal one. So you take a sip, and immediately you feel this searing heat in your mouth. The liquid is practically boiling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, your teeth are burning to a crisp, just scorching black against your gums. Now, a normal person would panic, right? They'd scream, maybe call for the royal physician.
I mean, I would definitely be screaming.
Exactly. But you don't panic. You calmly pick up a heavy iron scepter from the table, and you just casually smash your own ruined teeth out of your skull.
Just brutal.
And then you pocket the broken pieces, dab a little medicinal powder on your gums, and instantly, like right there in front of the entire court, you grow a flawless, gleaming new set of teeth.
It's just an incredibly visceral image to start with. What you're describing there is really the ultimate display of invulnerability.
Oh, totally.
Because it's not just surviving a mortal threat, It's completely rewriting the biological rules in real time, right in front of the most powerful person in the empire.
We're taking you into a bizarre, really mesmerizing chapter 21 of a classic Chinese text, Dong Yu Ji, which is often translated as Journey to the East.
Yeah.
To explore a series of mystical, tension-filled, and honestly sometimes brutally funny encounters between an earthly ruler, Empress Zhang, also known as Minghuang, and a cosmic immortal named Zhang Guolao.
I really want to set the stage for you here, because treating this text as just like a quirky fantasy story filled with random magic tricks, that would be a huge mistake.
Right, there's a lot more going on.
Exactly. It's a deeply layered examination of power dynamics. Specifically, we're looking at the tension between human authority, which is represented by the emperor, who holds absolute life and death power over the mortal realm, and divine unknowable power,
Which is the immortal.
Yes, the immortal. And as we explore these encounters today, I want you to pay close attention to how the emperor constantly tries to measure, quantify, or control the immortal.
And how the immortal just playfully and sometimes brutally dismantles those attempts.
Precisely.
So let's unpack this very first encounter, the poisoned wine scene, because it really establishes the baseline for everything that follows.
It really does.
Emperor Ming decides to test Zhang Guolao under the guise of giving him a compliment. He says something to the effect of, "I hear drinking without getting drunk is a remarkable feat."
Which, in a royal court, is basically saying, drink this so I can see what you're made of.
Right, prove it.
Right.
And it's framed as a polite observation, but the undercurrent is a total trap. The wine is laced with a staggering amount of poison.
Yeah, a lethal dose.
So Guolao takes the wine, and he doesn't just sip it. He drinks 3 full cups.
3 cups.
Yeah. And after the third drink, he slumps slightly and complains, "This is not good wine." He checks a mirror and sees that his teeth are completely scorched black.
I mean, just think about the potency of a toxin required to instantly rot human teeth.
It's terrifying.
The emperor is not playing around here. He is basically deploying military-grade assassination tools at a dinner party.
But the reaction is what gets me. Guolao grabs an iron rui, which is like a curved, decorative scepter often used as a symbol of authority, and just starts hammering away at his own mouth.
Such a wild image.
He knocks out all the ruined teeth, gathers the scorched pieces, and tucks them into his belt. Then he loosens his clothes, applies a medicinal patch to his empty gums, and after a short while, a new set of teeth grows in.
Just like that.
The text actually says they are radiant, like jade. I mean, it is the most intimidating power move imaginable.
Well, absolutely.
You poison my meal, I do DIY dentistry at the table with an iron rod, and then I flash you a blinding smile. But I have to stop and ask about the Emperor's logic here.
Sure.
If you seriously suspect a guy might be an all-powerful magical being, why is your very first instinct to hand him a glass of antifreeze? Like, what is he thinking?
Well, that goes straight to the heart of the emperor's psychology, To understand his motivation, you really have to look at how earthly dominance functions in this era.
Oh, you lay on me?
The emperor is considered the son of heaven. So his entire worldview, his entire sense of reality, is built on the premise that everything within the borders of his empire is subject to his will.
He's the ultimate authority.
Right. He holds the monopoly on violence, So when he encounters an anomaly, someone who supposedly operates outside his laws,
Yeah.
it creates massive cognitive dissonance for him.
So he just has to test it.
He needs to know if this being can be broken by earthly means. Because if he can't, well, then the Emperor's absolute authority is just an illusion.
He's probing the perimeter of the Immortal's power, looking for a weak spot.
He is. And the message Guolao sends back is pretty profound. Immortality in this text isn't portrayed as just having a really long lifespan.
Or being like, a static statue that swords just bounce off of.
Exactly. It's about the absolute mastery of regeneration. By pocketing his old teeth and growing new ones, Guolao is essentially telling the Emperor, your human weapons, your poisons, your authority to destroy, they mean absolutely nothing here.
I don't just resist your damage, I undo it.
Exactly.
So the biological test fails spectacularly. The Emperor realizes he cannot kill this guy, but instead of just backing down, his skepticism simply shifts domains.
Right. He pivots.
He goes from doubting the Immortal's physical limits to doubting his historical claims, which leads to a pretty severe interruption of the Emperor's dinner plans.
The focus shifts from biology to chronology. If the Emperor cannot dominate him in the present, he's going to try to trap him in the past.
So the Emperor catches this massive deer in a place called Shanyang, and he plans to have his chefs prepare it for a huge feast.
That's like a standard Royal Tuesday.
Right. But Guolao intervenes. He tells the Emperor, you can't eat that. This is a fairy deer, and it is 1,000 years old.
Which is quite the claim.
And he doesn't stop there. He drops an incredibly specific piece of historical trivia. He claims that centuries ago, he personally helped Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty catch this exact same deer and release it in the Shanglin Park.
Wow.
And he even gives the date, the 5th year of the Yuan-Shu era.
I mean, that is a staggering claim to make to a reigning monarch. He is casually name-dropping a legendary, almost mythical ruler from ancient history as his former hunting buddy.
Naturally, the Emperor pushes back. He argues that he has countless deer in his royal parks. Ages have passed, entire dynasties have fallen. He asks how one single deer could possibly survive all those changing eras.
The fair question from the Emperor's perspective.
But I have to call out the Emperor's selective logic here.
Oh.
I mean, he just watched a man regrow a mouthful of teeth using a metal stick and some gum paste. But he draws the line at an old deer.
That's where he gets skeptical.
Yeah. That's where he decides to play the scientifically impossible card. It makes no sense to me.
It sounds totally absurd to us, I agree. But it actually aligns perfectly with the mindset of Chinese imperial bureaucracy.
How so?
Well, magic happening in the room is a physical anomaly. But time-like, deep historical time, that is the exclusive domain of the imperial administration.
Ah, I see.
Time is measured, recorded, and owned by the state. So the emperor simply cannot fathom an entity existing continuously outside of the official administrative records.
But Guolao anticipates this, doesn't he?
Oh, he completely does.
He tells the emperor, when Emperor Wu released it, he attached a 2-inch copper plate to its left horn as a marker.
And then they go look.
Yeah, they go inspect this massive deer, and sure enough, there is a faded, tarnished copper plate attached exactly where he said it would be.
The visual evidence is compelling, but the text takes it a step further. It grounds this mystical claim in rigorous mathematical data.
Right, because the emperor demands to know exactly how many years it has been since the supposed release in the Yuan-Shu era.
And Guolao doesn't just give a rough estimate.
No, he specifies it was a Guihai year. He mentions a major public works project happening at the time, the excavation of Kunming Lake, and he states that it has been exactly 852 years.
Down to the year.
The emperor actually summons his imperial astronomer to run the numbers, and the math checks out perfectly.
It's brilliant.
But I need you to break this down for us. What exactly is a Guihai year, and how does the imperial astronomer verify a date from 8 centuries ago?
So the ancient Chinese used the sexagenary cycle, which is a really complex system of timekeeping based on a 60-year cycle.
Okay, 60 years.
Yeah, it combines 2 sets of characters, the 10 heavenly stems and the 12 earthly branches.
Mm-hmm.
And Guihai is the 60th and final combination in that cycle.
Got it.
Because this cycle repeats flawlessly every 60 years, and because imperial courts kept meticulous astronomical and historical records, calculating the exact time elapsed between 2 specific cyclical years across centuries is just a matter of precise mathematics.
So it's very verifiable.
Exactly. The imperial astronomer wasn't just a stargazer. He was essentially the ultimate auditor of time.
So it's like Guolao proved his magic by handing the emperor a perfectly balanced 800-year-old Excel spreadsheet.
That's a great way to put it. He beats the emperor at his own administrative game.
That's wild.
And that blend of myth and meticulous bureaucracy is crucial to understand here. Ancient storytellers didn't just want to dazzle you with magic, They wanted the magic to feel undeniably real.
Right. Ground it in facts.
Exactly. To a civilization built on record-keeping, you legitimize a wild claim by grounding it in verifiable historical timelines. It is an administratively verified, mathematically proven 852-year-old magical deer.
So the emperor's skepticism is finally dismantled. He's forced to accept Guolao's age and power.
But absolute power breeds paranoia.
Right. Instead of just leaving well enough alone, the emperor's curiosity morphs into this dangerous obsession. He knows the when and the how of Guolao's existence, but now he desperately needs to know the what.
Yes.
What actually is this entity sitting in his court?
And for that, he resorts to a different kind of expertise. He brings in Yi Fashan.
Let's talk about Yu Fashan. He's a Taoist from Jiehe, and he is entirely removed from the political ladder.
Completely outside the system.
The text notes he comes from a long line of Taoists. He spent time in an ancient room on Bema Mountain, and he was taught by actual immortals how to tame and interrogate ghosts and monsters.
A very specialized skill set.
The emperor had previously tried to shower him with official titles, but Yi refused them all. So this is someone who is completely unimpressed by the emperor's earthly authority.
Yi Fashan operates on a totally different frequency. He understands the architecture of the unseen world.
Right.
He knows how to deal with spirits, but more importantly, he knows the cosmic laws that govern them.
So the emperor corners Yi Fashan at court and demands the truth. What exactly is Zhang Guolao? And Yi Fashan is absolutely terrified. He refuses to speak.
Because he understands the terrifying reality of the universe they inhabit.
It's not a joke to him.
No, not at all. Speaking the true nature of a primordial entity isn't just gossip. It is a profound violation of a cosmic law.
But the emperor relentlessly pressures him. And finally, Yi Fashan demands this bizarre, highly specific insurance policy.
This part is so fascinating.
He tells the emperor, "I will only tell you if you promise me right now that you will take off your royal crown, take off your shoes, walk barefoot, and personally beg Guolao to forgive me."
And the emperor agrees.
He agrees. So Yi Fashan takes a breath and reveals the secret. He says, he is a white bat from the beginning of chaos.
Notice the phrasing there. From the beginning of chaos.
Yeah, what does that signify?
He is identifying Guolao as a creature from before the universe even took its current ordered shape.
And the punishment for revealing this is instantaneous. Yi Fashan doesn't even finish closing his mouth before he suddenly bleeds from all 7 orifices, his eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, and drops dead on the stone floor.
Just dead.
I was completely stunned reading this. There's no lightning bolt, no trial, no warning, just the sudden, gruesome system shutdown.
It is absolute. When you leak the mechanics of the universe simply deletes you.
But why is secrecy so heavily enforced in this cosmic hierarchy? Like, what makes saying the words white bat a capital offense?
Well, in Taoist mysticism, naming a thing gives you power over it. True names and true origins are basically the source codes of the universe.
Okay.
If mere mortals understand the underlying structure of primordial entities, the boundary between the sacred and the profane just collapses.
Ah, so the mystery's a point.
The mystery is what maintains the cosmic order. Yi Fashan didn't just insult Guolao, he basically unauthorizedly accessed and distributed the universe's source code.
And the fallout is incredible. The emperor, the very same man who tried to poison Guolao a few scenes ago, is instantly humbled.
He realizes the gravity of what just happened.
He immediately honors his promise to the dead man. He strips off his crown, discarding the ultimate symbol of his earthly authority. He takes off his shoes, and he walks barefoot through the palace to find Guolao and beg for Yi Fashan's life.
Here we see the true hierarchy of power established. The Son of Heaven is reduced to a barefoot beggar.
Yeah.
Earthly royalty means absolutely nothing in the face of entities from the beginning of chaos.
And Guolao's reaction is almost insulting in its casualness. He rolls his eyes and complains about Yi Fashan having a big mouth and leaking heaven secrets.
Just annoyed, really.
Yeah, he argues that if he doesn't punish people like Ye, the mechanics of the universe will just be out in the open for anyone to exploit. He treats a lethal cosmic punishment the way a manager might complain about a gossiping coworker.
It perfectly emphasizes the vast gulf between their perspectives.
Right.
To the emperor, a man just died horrifically. To Guolao, a minor bureaucratic rule was breached and a standard penalty was applied.
But because the emperor is there, debasing himself and begging, Guolao relents. But he doesn't perform some grand, sweeping ritual to bring him back.
No, nothing fancy.
He simply takes a mouthful of water and spits it directly onto the dead Yi Fashan's face.
And that's it.
The man instantly gasps and comes back to life. No incantations, just spit.
The emperor learns his final lesson right here. He cannot test Guolao, he cannot out-document him, and he absolutely cannot uncover his secrets without begging for mercy.
He's bested on every level.
The human ruler has been thoroughly and completely subjugated by the divine.
Which brings us to the final act. Because when you have established undeniable cosmic dominance over the Emperor of China, there's really only one thing left for an immortal to do.
You leave.
Exactly. You leave. Guolao claims he's getting old and sick, which is obviously a joke given his regenerative abilities, and he begs to retire to the mountains of Hangzhou.
And the emperor lets him.
The emperor, who is now terrified and deeply reverent, showers him with parting gifts. 3 bolts of silk, a special palanquin, 2 disciples, and a grand title, Master of Penetrating Mystery, or Tongzuan Jiansheng.
You see, the emperor is throwing honors at him in a desperate attempt to maintain a connection.
Clinging on.
Yeah, if he can't control the power, he at least wants to feel like he has some sort of institutional relationship with it.
Well, immortals don't seem to care much for institutional relationships. Because years later, during the early Tianbao era, the emperor gets needy again.
Oh, of course he does.
He sends an envoy to summon Guolao back to the capital. And the second Guolao hears about this summons, he immediately undergoes a process called corpse liberation Shiji and drops dead.
Right on the spot.
He essentially fakes his own death just to avoid taking a meeting with the emperor. I need to understand the mechanics of this, though. How does corpse liberation actually work in Taoist alchemy?
Corpse liberation, or Shiji, is a really profound concept. In Taoist alchemy, the physical body is viewed as a temporary vessel, much like a chrysalis.
Okay, like a cocoon.
Exactly. Through rigorous spiritual and alchemical practices, an immortal cultivates a pure spiritual body within the physical one.
I see.
When the time is right, or when a pesky emperor comes calling, the immortal can simply abandon the physical shell. To mortalize, it looks like sudden death. But in reality, the immortal has shed the heavy physical anchor to fully join the ranks of the divine in their refined spiritual form.
So his disciples bury the body. But here is the final mystery. Sometime later, the coffin is opened, and it is completely empty.
Nothing there.
Not a bone, and not a scrap of clothing, just an empty wooden box. The emperor is forced to build the Qixia Abbey just to worship him from afar. It is the ultimate escape act.
It really is.
He ensures the emperor can never bother him, test him, or summon him again.
He slips through the emperor's fingers entirely, leaving absolutely nothing behind but an absence.
And the text ends with a very specific lingering image. A poem written about a portrait of Guolao notes that he doesn't ride his donkey normally.
No, he doesn't.
He rides it completely backwards. The poem states he does this not to be eccentric, but so he can look back at all things. Why is looking backward portrayed as the ultimate state of wisdom here?
Think about the mortal perspective, which is embodied by the emperor. The mortal life is defined by a frantic rush forward.
Always hurrying.
Right, you're always trying to conquer the next territory, secure the next title, uncover the next secret. Your entire existence is propelled by the anxiety of limited time, rushing blindly into the future.
Constantly acquiring things, constantly building.
Exactly. But an immortal has endless time. The immortal rides the donkey, moving forward through time, but chooses to face backward.
Oh, I love that.
It symbolizes a profound detachment from the anxiety of worldly progress. Instead of staring at the destination, Guolao observes the unfolding of history.
Watching things play out.
Yes, he watches the rise and fall of empires, the repetitive mistakes of humanity. It is the wisdom of seeing the entire tapestry of existence, understanding the whole picture, rather than obsessing over whatever minor obstacle or goal is immediately in front of you.